Hello, welcome everybody to this amazing presentation. I'm gonna jump right in here and ask a question. Have we noticed a shift in the market in 2022 at all? Right? Um, Bear with me. I got to get my slide text straight here. All right, so we're talking about some strategies in this market that happen. Really, we take advantage of a lot of these. They're very much kind of like old school strategies, but when interest rates are going up really fast, there are some creative things we can do to help both buyers and sellers in this particular time in the market. So we've heard about all these different things affecting us right now. There's a lot of uncertainty and volatility in the market. Uh, it's putting a lot of pressure on buyers and sellers, which in turn, of course, puts a lot of pressure on real estate agents and loan lenders, et cetera. Right. So we're seeing a lot of inflationary pressure, interest rates rising, all these things. And really, what's happening here is we have a big affordability issue. And roughly, it's costing buyers a lot of money. What they qualified for in December is roughly almost 10% less across the nation, give or take your area, due to higher interest rates, right? Their buying power has gone down, which then in turn hurts sellers trying to sell. And in California, according to the California Association of Realtors this summer, we saw price declines in June of 36,000, condos dropped 18,000. Housing in general dropped 8.4%, while condo sales fell over 10%. And in the San Francisco Bay Area, we've seen prices fall around 7%. Also, not just because of inflation or interest rates, but we're also having a downturn in the tech sector. Now, what happens is also what's going on due to all this, right? Mortgage applications, according to the Mortgage News Daily, are at 22-year lows. And so I've been doing this for 20, 21 years now. I don't know what was happening 22 years ago per se. 21 years ago was very busy, but that's a huge decline, right? And a huge gap of time. So we are really at a bottom that we haven't seen. And I don't know that we've all experienced it yet. But what happens then in these markets in 2009 to 2011, I want to say, we did a ton of these and they worked out great. And one thing we need to focus on here as professionals helping these buyers and sellers is a negotiation where everybody wins. And that's what we're trying to present here. And we want to be the solution to what's going on in the marketplace. And so the problem, as we've discussed, is the houses are too expensive, but we don't want to do any price reductions, right? So buyers and sellers are kind of stuck in this area, this gray area. Now, the solution then would be the seller paid rate buy down, and we're gonna kind of discuss what that is. And really, what we do is we just take seller concessions. So when we need like a roof, if there's an issue with the roof, we don't call it an issue with the roof. We say we need a credit for non-recurring closing costs, right? It's very similar to that. Um, Historically, we use those to just spread over the closing costs of the HUD, right? It just kind of we just say, here's the credit, and it goes to the closing cost. This specifically is to buy down the rate. So what it does is significantly reduces the monthly payment with the seller credit, and it does help the seller as well with a price reduction. Now, it may seem like this really benefits only the buyer, but keep in mind we are in a down market here. So because there's fewer mortgage applications in the market, we're using creativity to give sellers to maximize the sales price of that listing. The maximize, I guess, the net proceeds, I should say, of that listing. But as we mentioned above, we've got rising interest rates and fewer mortgage applications. And so what we're trying to do here is create a win-win. And so let's take a look. I'm going to give you some examples here so to really kind of clarify how this all works and put it into perspective for you. One thing though, make sure that value is solid. House Canary is a very good valuation tool out there, as well as MLS comps. I wouldn't always put a lot of weight, and I think you guys know this, into Redfin and Zillow and sites like that. per se. But let's just take a look at how this works. And here's a live scenario or a real scenario where we're going to look at all these numbers for the transaction here. So we've got $1 million purchase price. We've got a client with 10% down, and typically, these buyers are usually going to have less than 10% down. It's just kind of the way the market is. It's like it happens a lot. Let's just say that. Interest rate 5.25. That is not the current rate. But this is just an example. So we have a 5.25 as an interest rate. It's a 30-year fixed. Cash to close is 121,247, and their monthly payments 49.69. And the seller's net proceeds are $1 million. Now the house isn't selling, so we drop the price 50 grand. See what happens. We get an offer, 10% down, 855K loan amount, 5.25. Cash to close, about 6 grand less. Total monthly payment is about $248 less. Now, instead of doing this, we write an offer at $1 million with a 2% credit. And I used a 2% credit on this one of $18,000. So 2% of the loan amount, not 2% of the purchase price. That's a conversation you can have on a case-by-case basis with your lender, but that's what we did here. And it took the rate down to 4.5%. Cash to close was about the same as the $50,000 price reduction. The monthly payment was $45.60. The total monthly savings were $409 versus $248. So pretty significant there for a buyer, right? Especially compared to this. And then the net proceeds for the seller are $982. Now, this is where the magic happens, people. This is a $4,560 payment. If we wanted to match that payment with a price reduction, this is what it would look like. You'd have to take your price all the way down to $917,535. So we'll just, cut to the chase here, and the price reduction is 82 grand. It costs the seller 82 grand versus 18 grand. And so this is the bottom line for sellers, in this situation. So you can see how it's definitely a win-win for both the buyer and the seller. And it works across the board. It doesn't matter for the most part what kind of loan it is. FHA, we're going to do an FHA scenario here. But VA, conventional, jumbo, etc. It works across the board. Here we have a $500,000 purchase price, 3.5% down FHA loan. Now they add the mortgage insurance in, so you're going to see, these kind of odd loan amounts and higher APRs. Cash to close, $24,000. This is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance on this one. The last one was just principal and interest. That's why they're so similar. But it is $39.42. Seller net proceeds are $500,000. Now, if we do a $25,000 price reduction, we have $475 as a purchase price. And we'll just cut down here. We know how to do this by now, right? So the total monthly payment for the seller, for the buyer, $37.44. He saves about $200 a month. Seller is out 25 grand. Instead, we're going to do a $10,000 price credit, to the seller. We got this loan amount. Our rate goes down to 5.125. And this was actually done. I did this yesterday. So these are fairly current rates compared to the last one was from over the summer. Cash to close, $24,218. Total monthly payment, $36.75. So it does knock down $267 versus the $198, right? Not bad. And seller is 15 grand in the green compared to the $25,000 price reduction. Now, to do the same thing, right, we have to lower it to $466,251, the purchase price, and it would cost the seller $33,749. So once again, 10,000. And here it's like, it's smaller numbers than our last situation with $1 million and $100,000 down payment, of course, but it's like 5% saving of the price that he's netting. So he or she. So there you have it. We see that the seller saves. We've got lower interest rates for the buyer. You're going to get more buyer interest by offering a below market interest rate. Your neighbors will be very happy with you as you leave because you've maintained the house values in the neighborhood rather than dropping them with a price reduction, which avoids this stigma, right? So why sellers should consider this? Just to rehash, you have a house that becomes more affordable to a wider pool of buyers. Three times the impact of the buyer's purchasing power. They say this affects. So that's pretty solid number. You reduce the risk of deal fall through. You're basically giving this buyer below market rates, and so therefore, the chances of them walking away, especially if you have a week like this week with interest rates, it's not going to happen. And you gain a competitive advantage versus other homes listed for sale because you have sold at the top of the market, basically, then driving down the values. So again, we have a negotiation where the buyers win. Offer stands out, lower interest rates, lower payments. They say discount points are tax deductible. You must talk to a tax professional about that. Sellers win to avoid price reduction and a higher net. The listing agent is a superstar because he or she did not drop the values in the neighborhood. This could be something you now see if there's any FISBOs or expired out there. See if you can, rattle some trees, if you will. The seller wins. I'm sorry, the buyer's agent wins because the offer stands out. Client stoked, very happy. You now have this target seller buy down opportunity, and you are the expert, and you have done very well for your buyer. So, how we make this work? Here's just kind of some tips, right? To what to do next, if you will. You will need a reputable loan person that really understands this. I mean, that's like the most important element to it. And so make sure you have that. Also, the agents on both sides need to get it, as I say there. But it's true. You really need to understand this concept to sell it to the listing and selling agents and the lender. Structuring all this should be able to communicate with the listing, buying, seller, buyer, all four parties if need be, right? In order to make sure this happens with market timing and everything like that. So everyone really needs to be on the ball to make this happen in this transaction. And I'd say it really does start with the lender. I mean, it's the buy down, of course it does. Now, you can add this to your listing presentation, and I do not sell houses, and I know lots of you guys sell a lot of houses, so I'm not going to tell you how to do your listing presentations by any stretch of the imagination, but it might be something to have in your back pocket, like I say, where, I may be able to get you a higher net, using this strategy in this market, attract more buyers, etc. I've seen it put on MLS listings now where they pitch, seller credit to buyer to buy down the rate at this price. And so then you know what your net is because you got your 2%, 3%, whatever baked into the listing price. You can add this to your buyer presentation as well. I mean, if you're working with a lot of buyers, you just need to know how this works right now, period. So you should just know that and know you need to write a 2%. I mean, it can be more. I use 2% here. That's just kind of what it's been. When we have bigger loan amounts, 2% does a lot. Smaller loan amounts, you might want to go and purchase prices, you might want to go 3%. But talk to your lender. Again, certain programs allow 6%. However, you could never offer buy down a rate that much, I don't think. Anyway, it wouldn't close with that many points. That being said, know about it and know how to write an offer. And I have this for you. This amazing mortgage broker, Garrick Wordmuller, taught me how we can get you a lower rate while competing against multiple offers. May I introduce you to him and he will show you how it works. Feel free to use that. But no, you can use, just work with someone. I'd love to work with you. But introduce the concept to your buyers and then we can write the offers, as we see per property, let's just say. And buyers agents, To really make this work, I'd say the sweet spot is we want properties that have been listed for a longer period of time than a shorter period of time. That's kind of the secret. And, usually these are FHA or, 5, 10% down buyers. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just when everyone else has 20% down, right? It's a different market. We've come out of that market now. Also, I'm just going to say, as a wholesale lender and as an independent mortgage broker, you will get farther. It's true. We have more options and lower rates. Lower rates means higher loan amounts, higher purchase prices, more opportunity for both the buyer and the seller. And take a look at this. If I can talk all I want, but this is data from United Wholesale Lenders for 2021. And this compares the top 10 wholesale lenders with the top 10 non-bank retailers. Non-bank retailer would be like a Rocket or a Cross Country or a Fairway or something like that, right? Versus independent brokers. So in 2021, and the debt to income ratio here is 41 to 45. Now, I don't know why they're so specific with all this stuff, but I just will tell you what they found was that borrowers using an independent broker like myself saved $9,407. And get this, minority borrowers saved $10,424 as an average by using a broker over a bank. It's crazy. So, before you really should just know that, because the best thing for your buyer is talking to someone like myself, and that those numbers just say it. As long as it's a competent broker, of course. So there you have it. If you'd like me to run numbers, I am here for you. I am Garrick Wordmuller. I'm the president and CEO of Fresh Home Loan Inc. We are independent mortgage brokers that work for the people. I'm doing this big live stream here, so if you have comments, throw them out there and let me know. Otherwise, we will end. And you can just message me. Looks like we've got nothing cooking. So I appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. And I'm here to support you and get your buyers awesome interest rates and phenomenal fast closings.